So on today's session, so we are going to see about electrodes. In last session, we saw about biopotentials. So how these biopotentials, see, inside the body, it is ionic current. Outside the body, the equipments are electron current, right? It could be a convectional current or electron current. Convectional current means movement of holes. Electron current means movement of electrons. But inside the body, we function with ionic current. So this has to be brought forth to that. So to do that, and what is required is what we call it as electrodes. So we can see a GIF or animated file here. It's a pretty hobby project, something like. See, when he just stretches his hand, means his arm, something comes up, so that is trying to do it. So it could be a funny experiment, but you can see that if you see my arrow mark, so that is actually picking the signal from the body. So that is basically surface electrodes. We'll see the types. So that is going to, and could be an means an arm or some development board, whatever, right? So it could be an Arduino or it could be a Raspberry Pi Zero. It seems like Raspberry Pi Zero. So it could be of anything, and then it does the thing. So that's what. So it is picking the signal. So what is used to pick the signal from the body is what we call it as the electrodes. So even in the lab, when you hold two wires of the probe, I told you in the first class that you will tend to read a signal. So even a metal can be an electrode. Most cases, it will be in metal only. So you'll come to know that. So electrode is not an rocket science. It is very simple. It is simply an metal, so that when you keep it on the body or inside the body, it picks up the signal. As simple as that. So these electrodes are broadly classified into three types. So one is micro electrodes, the other one is needle electrodes, and the last one is surface electrodes. As I told in the previous case, they used surface electrodes. Nama papa. So it's very simple. Their operation or the principle of working is according to the principle of working. They have named it. So micro, needle, and surface. So this is what we are going to see. Every category has its subtypes. So we will see one by one, and that's all it's going to be for today. So first one is microelectrodes. So as the name indicates, micro means small. It is 10 to the power of -6, right? So this electrodes or the area which is used to pick the signal will be in uh, micrometer or millimeter. Or it could be in micrometer stage, means micrometer scale. That's why we call it as microelectrodes. There are two types. So one is metallic electrode or metallic microelectrode, and the other one is non-metallic microelectrodes. You can even guess it very simple. Metallic means they will use metal in this electrode. Non-metallic means they are not going to use any metal, right? They are going to use an alternative one. Could be a plastic or it could be a fiber. So we'll see it one by one. And then needle electrodes doesn't as a category. Needle electrodes is only one type. The third one is surface electrode. So surface electrode, there are 5 different types of surface electrodes. So first one is metal plate electrode. So surface, so on the top of the body, right? So in that, when they use a metal plate, so you call it as a metal plate electrode. The next one is suction cup. So you would know what a suction cup, I'll show you, right? The third one is floating electrode. Fourth one is disposable electrode, means it is like use and throw. Disposable is syringe, right? Disposable electrode. And the fifth one is ear clip electrode. Ear clip electrode. So it's going to be the very same thing. It's very simple, easy to remember. So we'll go one by one. So first, we're getting into micro electrode. Hope I'm audible and I'm slow. That's why I've colored it. See, the micro indicates very small, right? It is 0.000 something is going to be. So there were two types, right? One is metal microelectrodes, metallic electrode and non-metallic electrode. So this metallic electrode or metal microelectrode, this is the entire electrode, but the electrode, actually the metallic part is in the tip of this entire uh, electrode. Means when you buy metallic electrode, something which is in the size of your digital thermometer. Digital thermometer size silicone. So, but the tip is what it is going to touch the body, as it in case of digital thermometer, right? So the tip is very sharp, and it's made up of metal, right? And from here the wire runs and it goes to the probe. They will connect the probe here and they'll try to show you the real one. See, it looks like a pencil, right? So you can see that the metallic part lies only 5 millimeter in length, but the tip is, it is 0.5 millimeter, not even 1 millimeter. It is 0.5 or less than that. That's what they say, the various types. So you can see that there is a gold plated pin connector. So the probes is going to run from here. So inside that there will be wire. See why gold is, whenever you buy any kind of connector, even for your cell phones, if you buy your charger cable, you could get it from 50 rupees to 700 rupees even. This is because of what is the um, metal they used is inside. So aluminum or copper or more costlier than that. See, whenever we don't want to miss the potential that is picked up, will always go for gold. Gold is the very good conductor than copper, but since it is costlier, we don't prefer it. But still, in places wherever it is required, we'll make it with gold or at least gold plated, something like gold covering, so that at least in the surface the conductions will be more. So that's why in the cable whenever it is gold plated, it could be an AV wire, audio video wire. When it is gold plated, it is costly. It would cost, a normal AV wire costs around 500, 200 to 500 rupees. A cheaper one costs from 50 rupees. So gold plated is just for a better conductivity, because the signals picked up will be already in microvolts. So this is metal micro electrode. The second one is non-metallic அல்லது micro pipette electrode. This pipette in 12th standard chemistry you would have seen. So in pipette, what we'll do, we'll take the solutions by like this. So similar to pipette is how this looks like. You can see that the edge or the edge which contacts with the body is only 10 micrometer. That's why it comes in micro electrodes. So it is just 10 means 10 micrometer. You have to take the signals. You have silver chloride electrodes there, two electrodes there, so which will picks up the signal, means reference electrodes, and one signal electrodes, and there is an electrolyte solution. So actually this part is going to get into the body, a specific part of the body, and there is body fluids, and this body fluid is getting connected with this electrolyte solution. So the signal will get transferred to the pipette electrodes, and inside the solution there are silver chloride electrodes, and that will pick up the signal. So this is the real one. You can see it is very minute, and this much size it is, and you can see the edge. You cannot actually really see the edge because it is 10 micrometer. You have to handle it with care. Now this is made up of fiber, so it will break down very easily. So this is non-metallic micropipette electrode. So once you keep it here, it goes to a particular part and the signal is picked, and then you connect a probe. Let me show a probe here, and that's how it is going to come. The signal is going to come, as simple as that. surface electrode the picking the signal is very easy. Next one is needle electrodes, right? So needle means, for example, the needle which we know is this one, right? Uzi, right? So so this is what you call it as needle. So our electrodes is going to have a needle. So that's why we have named it as needle electrode. Something it looks like an injection, right? So this is a theoretical picture taken from the textbook, right? And the real one, I've shown it here. Yeah, it almost looks like this needle. So this needle electrodes, it is used in places where the interfaces has to be very much lower, right? Or it's specifically used in places where EEG is used, electroencephalogram. Anyway, we'll see what is EEG in first unit. It is the record of the brain activity. So this needle electrode, something similar to that, is placed on the scalp. Scalp means Monday orders, right? Scalp level. So it is not going to penetrate the scalp. It is just going to touch the scalp uh, skin surface, as simple as that. So that it will pick up from a specific part. So EEG there will be so many electrodes placed. Sometimes they use surface electrodes, sometimes they go for needle electrodes. When it is for continuous monitoring, they'll not go for needle electrodes. They'll go with they'll shave and they'll try to keep the surface electrodes. In some cases, where it's temporary, you will keep needle electrodes and you will try to measure. So whenever interference losses has to be low, we'll always go for needle electrodes. It will be very small, so tin connector is there. So that's how they'll try to connect. The third one is surface electrode. Only this has 5 types, right? We'll see one by one. Surface means on the top, right? So all the surface electrodes will be on the top. It will not be like needle electrodes or micropipette electrodes, which is penetrating to some extent. Even needle means micropipette electrodes, they penetrate to 10 micrometer inside, right? So this is not going to penetrate. This is not going to be on the surface. So the first one is metal plate electrode. So this metal plate electrode, I have shown it in the video, which I have taken it during the trial session. We have it in our laboratory. So right now we are in work from home. So I'll share you that video also. It's in YouTube. So there I'll show you what metal plate electrodes will look like. This is the traditional metal plate electrode or simple metal dumbbell. So only a simple metal there will be there. So that will be placed in arms or your thighs or wherever you want to take. And you can see that there is a wrist belt. Means there is a belt which will hold it, especially in the arm. For example, I'll show you in the real time. So this is how the picture looks like in diagrammatic representation. So this is the contact surface, the green color. The green color or the metal will be placed inside the arm and that will try to connect it or contact with the body. And there is a terminal wire, so which will pick up the signal. Simple metal now. Every your probes of your CRO, when you touch it, you get the signal. This is like when you place it, you get the signal. So we are already full of the signal, right? When you put in metal plate on a particular part, you get the signal. Like how the very first uh, animation I told you, right? So when he is doing like this, it picks up the signal and that's how it works. It's very simple. So you may not know signal dissipate, but from now, it's very clear. The next one is suction cup electrode. Suction cup electrode is called because it works on suction principle. This you would have seen, right? In your car, this is sun shield. So here you use a suction one, right? So when it is placed, okay. Anyhow, when it is placed, it sucks up the air and then that's how it holds, right? Even in here, if I want to place it, right? So out means the surface is not so polished, so it came up. It sucks up the air inside, and that's how it holds. As similar to the very same principle, right? Like this one, your electrodes is going to work. See, the previous one, the drawback of the previous one was that when you place it here, it can move, or there is a slippage in the in a note. Slippage means when I can place it here, after an hour it could come here. So that is why there is a belt, but still when the person moves his hand or whatever, it slips. Whereas to avoid that, we go for suction cup electrodes. So even in your cell phone holders in your car, they use suction electrodes. So what do? They keep it and they press it, and that's how it is locked. It will never come until you release it. The same principle is used here. Suction cup electrodes. You will tend to tight this screw and press this one, it gets sucked up. So here is where the probes, your wires will tend to connect it and will try to take the terminal. This is to make the suck. Once you press it and you release it, it sucks, it attached. You can see a real-time pic here. This elder senior citizen person, uh, they've attached suction cup electrodes. So they place this on these places. I think they are trying to get ECG. So most cases they use surface electrode, means either type of surface electrodes, not disposable more use பண்ணுவாங்க. Maybe it is more intensive problem. So that is why in order to avoid slippages, they have kept. So இங்க ஒரு electrodes இருக்கு, they have kept it. So this is just a sample. So it works on suction principle, but the signals are picked up from here only. Simple metal picks a signal, and that's how you receive it. There is no rocket science involved, right? So the third one is floating. Floating. So float means medical. So floating on the surface, you tend to paste it. The float means it is not attached. It is not attached, right? Floating. So that's what float. So and also floating when we say water comes into picture or something like that. So similarly here in suction or in needle or in micropipette, the metal was trying to attach to the body. Even in the previous one, the metal was trying to get locked to the body, either in suction or in metal surface. Whereas in floating electrodes, the metal plate, the contact one is not going to attach to the body. In between, there is something called as an electrolyte. So அதனால floating நம்ம சொல்றோம். So silver chloride is there, so that metal will pick up the signal. So you'll try to, for example, I'll show you the real one. So this is how it will look like. So even in the movies, in the heroines body, they would have kept it, right? So they'll try to put a paste or a jelly like, right? And they'll try to keep this surface electrode. So wherever, so this is also, they're getting an ECG, electrocardiogram. So that's why it is on the chest. So they'll try to put, and there'll be a metal where they'll try to attach the probes. This is a real-time prick. The probe will have a clip. So on the they'll try to place a clip from where the probe runs. It's very simple. And metal, that is silver chloride here, is going to pick up the signal. As simple as that. The only thing is that the metal is not getting attached with the body. No, there is a jelly which is in between. So that is why you call it as a floating electrode, because the metal surface is floating on the jelly. So something similar to that, right? So it's very clear. And the next one is disposable. So this is also a floating electrode, but it is disposable in nature. The previous one is you need to sterilize it, and you can reuse it again and again and again. Whereas this one is use and throw, right? So you can use it only once. It is very ready-made. So there you need to put, here you need to apply jelly, electrolyte, they call it as jelly. So like jelly means something similar to your Vaseline, right? So they'll put it and then they'll do it. So whereas this one is ready-made. You can buy it. For example, when I show it to you, it is very clear. You can buy it on your medical shops. There'll be a sticker. When you remove it, that will have a glue. Then the glue is itself an electrolyte glue. You can stick it, and that's what. From there, you can take it. When you remove it, the glue will lose its ability, and you cannot use it again. So that's how it is. You can see it here. So there are so many things. So only thing is there will be a plastic paper will be there. When you remove it, you can paste this anywhere you want, as simple as that. So this is disposable. So this is also a floating type electrode, but it is not reusable. So previous one is reusable, this one is not reusable. So simply there'll be silver chloride metal, so that will pick up the signal. And the last one is ear clip electrode. See, ear clip electrode. So this will be something, for example, I'll show you another pic. This is how it will look like in reality. So it will be placed on the ear. So most cases, this will be used as a reference electrode. See, there are two lines in your signal measurement. So one is signal line, the +1, right? Another one is the reference line, right? The ground, you whatever you say. So signal or potential is measured between 2 points. So one is a reference point, one is signal point. In AC cases, it could be signal and neutral or whatever. In DC case, plus and minus or whatever, the reference point. So hereafter, we'll call it as a reference, right? So this is used as a reference electrode. Means in EEG electroencephalogram, they'll use needle electrodes. They'll place it on forehead, central position, backside, and all these things. They'll place number of electrodes. So these are all signal electrodes. There can be 10 electrodes, right? So there'll be one reference line. 10 signal line, one reference line. The reference line will be taken on the ear lobes. So that's why this ear clip electrodes is used. So ear can always, means it is easy to do it when if you have a clip, it cannot move it. So that's why it is in the form of a clip. So when you press this area, so it is going to open, and then you place it on the ear. So it is taken as a reference signal. So it is used not to pick up the signal lines. It is used as a reference electrode. As simple as that. So we have seen 5 types of surface electrodes, 2 types of one types of needle electrodes, and 2 types of, right? So 2 types of metallic, means micro electrodes. So to go as in a faster run, so this is all we have seen, right? So we are almost done for today. So any of today's attendance will be taken on an activity. So we'll have a questionnaire. I'll try to post it. I'll try to stop the recording here.